If you don't feel different about the Chicago Bears right now, I don't even know what to tell you anymore. The Bears just pulled off one of the craziest playoff comebacks in franchise history. They sent the Packers home packing, as we all wanted to see. Now they're hosting the Rams in the divisional round at Soldier Field. We're breaking down the best, the worst, the emotional moments, the disrespect, and why this team is officially built different. We're going to get to it all and more right after this. What's going on, Bears fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bears Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bears related. I'm the host there, Haize, but more importantly, you guys can follow the channel at Chi Bears Central on every social media platform we happen to be on. With that said, let's go ahead and get into this content today, y'all. And the Bears' opponent for the divisional round is now official. We will be facing off against the Los Angeles Rams in the second round of the playoffs, with the Bears securing the second seed. It means we have home field advantage all the way up until we come against the Seahawks, potentially in an NFC championship match. So the Bears are going to have home field advantage. And make no mistake about it, it is a legitimate home field advantage for the Chicago Bears. Soldier Field was absolutely rocking against the Packers, especially in that fourth quarter. Like, of course, we need the Bears to keep up the energy for entire four quarters. We'll talk about that here when we get into winners and losers from the game. But the Bears will now officially face off against the Los Angeles Rams in the second round of the division. And this is not anything that you can take for granted. You just cannot take this for granted. No matter what the Rams record is, I keep saying they are one of the most complete teams in the NFC, if not the overall most complete team in the NFC. They are very well coached, and you cannot come into this game and take it lightly at all. I don't care that the Rams were 12-5 over the course of the season. Do not take that for granted when it comes to the Rams. It's a team that's sound defensively, they're sound offensively. They are a damn good football team, and they're going to be coming into this game trying to absolutely destroy the Chicago Bears. That's what they're going to try to do, and I can't blame them for that. Matt Stafford, for what it's worth, threw for 304 yards against the Carolina Panthers. Now, that was a matchup where it did go down to the wire, and it did look at one point like the Carolina Panthers may actually win that game, but they didn't. But you got to look at it. The Rams are averaging 30.5 points per game, right? They scored 518 total points on the season. They are tough when it comes down to that one. They are a team that, as far as their third down efficiency, they are really efficient on third downs as well. But that is a place where if you're going to hit them in any place, that is a place where you could try to hit them at as well. Their fourth down efficiency, they were 20-30. That's 66% on fourth downs as well. So you got to look out for them. They had over 4,000 yards total passing on the season as well. They're rushing over 2,100 yards total rushing-wise as well. And defensively, they're a pretty sound defensive team. This is going to be, as everything from now on, one of the biggest tests for the Chicago Bears on the season. And we got to see how they're going to stack up, right? The Bears are going to have to come into this game focused. They're going to have to come into there intentional. They're going to have to come in there and take care of some shit. If they don't, it's going to be a tough game for them. And that's just the reality of it. You guys know I am a Bears fan through and through, but one thing I am is I'm not just a homer, right? The Rams were the number one offensive team in the league during the entirety of the season. And like I said, you still can't take away from them defensively either, and they're a solid and sound defensive team as well. More middle of the pack as far as yards given up defensively, but do not take that for granted. This is a team that's going to come in here. They're going to try to take away what you do, and the adjustments are going to be super important in this game against the Rams. This is going to be a game of second half adjustments, I think, for both teams. Whoever adjusts the most in the second half and builds off what they do in the first half of the game, that's going to be the team that wins this game. Ben Johnson, Dennis Allen, guys have to be ready. The players have to be ready to perform. We're already going to be down TJ Edwards. TJ Edwards is not going to be in this game, right? So, as it's been in the regular season, injuries are going to be a story for the Chicago Bears the entirety of the season, but they're going to have to learn to overcome that, and they're going to have the next man up mentality and attack it. Everything is on the line. And so when it all comes down to it, man, we're going to see what's going to happen. We are going to see what's going to happen because this is not easy for the Bears. It's not going to be easy. And I'll tell you what, I don't want it to be easy for the Bears. Listen, I love that we're coming up against the Rams because we get to really measure ourselves against who and where we're going to be. And I think it's already been reported that the Bears are going to be be on the early game on Sunday. The time is still TBD, but we will have the early game on Sunday. So look out for that for the Bears. We play on Sunday instead of Saturday. So we'll see what the Bears have in store for us. But with that said, let's go ahead and talk about the game. Like we like to do after every game, we like to talk about the standouts, the lowlights, whatever you want to call it. And I think first, if we're going to talk about the best players out of Saturday's game against the Packers, we got to talk about Colston Loveland. Colston Loveland had himself a welcome to the NFL playoff games, if I've ever seen it. 137 receiving yards on 8 receptions. That 2-point conversion late was super important for it. He was targeted 15 times, which just goes to show how reliable of an option he's become for the Chicago Bears team and how trusted he is by Caleb Williams. Colston Loveland had himself an absolute stud of a game on Saturday, and he deserves to be talked about first because what Colston Loveland did, and when you look at it over the last month and a half of the season, Colston Loveland has proven his value. He's more so than earned the fact that he was the first-round pick for the Chicago Bears this year, and he's already on pace to be one of the best tight ends in the game of football after what he did in his rookie year, and he's going to build off of that. He has the right mentality. Caleb Williams talked about it after the game, talked about Colston Loveland and the difference that he made for this Bears team. He continues to be a difference maker for this team, and you just can't overlook. We don't win this game if it's not for Colston Loveland. We don't win a lot of games here over the back half of it. It's not for Colston Loveland. He's become Caleb Williams' maybe even favorite weapon over Rome Odunze. Colston is a monster. He's a beast. And I'm so glad that he's in the Chicago Bears uniform because the future is very bright for Colston Loveland and for the Bears offense. Next up, DJ Moore. Look at what happened with the game on the line and the game-winning touchdown that went to DJ Moore from Caleb Williams, what ended up being that. He finished the night with 6 receptions for 64 yards, but that touchdown alone puts him up there. DJ Moore, there's been a lot made of him. Between, when we drafted Luther Burden, some Bears fans like to be more knee-jerky. Automatically was like, we got to trade DJ Moore. And I've always said that I'm at the place where why would you want to take away talent when you don't have to? Yeah, DJ Moore and Caleb's chemistry, rightfully so, was questioned at times over the season, and I'm not going to take that away from it. But I think as this offense improves, as Caleb Williams also improves on his accuracy, and hopefully we improve on drops as well as a team, you're going to see, I think next season you're going to see where we have multiple 1,000-yard receivers, and I wouldn't be surprised if DJ Moore is one of those guys. DJ just comes in, and he just does his job. He takes advantage of it. He toughs it out. He got banged up early in the game, but like we know with DJ Moore, every time he goes down, we're pretty much sure that he's going to get back up and just play again because DJ Moore is that level of player. He's that committed to the Chicago Bears team. So what DJ Moore has done and what he did in that game-winning touchdown, he definitely deserves to be talked about as one of the best performances in that. Next up, I want to get into Dennis Allen, right? The second half play calling from Dennis Allen was great. The first half was not good, and we'll talk about the first half here on the other side of this. But when you talk about individual performances, that's one thing, but the performance of the defense in the second half of that game was absolutely great. Early in the third quarter, when the Bears started finding their momentum, that came, with the Chicago Bears defense. Now, of course, we lost TJ Edwards in that game, and that sucks, but Dennis Allen came in, he held the defense accountable, and we held the Green Bay Packers to just 6 points in the second half after they scored 3 touchdowns in the first half of that game. The adjustments that we made defensively made the entire difference for the Chicago Bears in that game on Saturday, and Dennis Allen gets tons of credit for what we were able to do, and it helped us own time of possession overall in the game and all those type of things. The defense took care of business in the second half of the game. They did what needed to be done. Of course, it wasn't all pretty, but we already know this defense has its struggles. But when you look at just overall from the team, the number of pass deflections we had I think 8 QB hits on the day as well. Like, we didn't get the sacks that we wanted. But we still put pressure on Jordan Love and made it uncomfortable, especially in the second half of the game. I got to give a lot of love to Dennis Allen for that. And then the C-Dub portion of the episode, C-Dub's going to hate me for this, but I got to give it to Cairo Santos. Cairo Santos and what he did, he just did his job. And in the playoffs, a kicker doing their job could be very much the difference when you winning the game and losing the game, going 3 of 3. I mean, we saw it. The Green Bay Packers kicker couldn't make a field goal, which put us in position to be able to win the game in the way that we did, right? So, 3 for 3, 2 for 2 on extra points. The Bears, Cairo Santos helped the Chicago Bears hold on to this lead and create that space between us and the Green Bay Packers. And Cairo Santos deserves to be accounted for and acknowledged for that because the special teams, and I guess I could say Devin Duvernay as well as a kick returner. He did some things that helped put us in position as a kick returner in that. So overall, I'll say this. The special teams did its job. special teams did its job for the Chicago Bears. And you got to love it because you need every facet, every phase of the game. You need it all to be lock in step when you're in playoff scenarios. And the Bears got that from their team in the wild card. And so, hey, it is what it is. Let's move on to the bad part of it, right? The first half play calling from Ben Johnson. Listen, I say this all the time. You guys know I love Ben Johnson, and I'm going to still think very highly of Ben Johnson. But the thing that I always give Ben Johnson a little bit of shit for is the fact that it's almost like he has to rediscover the run game in every game. There's almost no run game in the first half of the game, and the play calling, it left a lot to be desired for. There were also some missed throws. That's on Caleb Williams, but the first half play calling, man, it was just bad. It is something that I'm legitimately worried about. In the playoffs, if it continues to happen, we just can't continue to be such a bad first half team. We got to get it together. The trickery was unnecessary early in that game, and overall, we just had a lack of success in that game in the first half. So the first half play calling from the offense was not good. It's definitely something that deserves to be mentioned as one of the low lights on it, and as well as the first half defense. The first half defense was absolutely trash. It was a poor first half, and it was the defense that we all kind of have some concerns about in the playoffs and how successful we can be in the playoffs with a defense that's playing like that in the first half of games. On the first 3 drives of the game, the Bears defense allowed the Green Bay offense to go down and score 3 straight touchdowns to open the game. That you don't usually win games when you allow a team like the Green Bay Packers to score on their first 3 drives, 3 straight touchdowns, and it seemed like we lost every single play in that. The Packers got downfield, several big plays in the first half of the game, and they basically just did everything they wanted to. And they had the confidence going into the first half, and they earned that. Now, thankfully, we got it right in the second half, and that's why I did want to mention the second half defense from Dennis Allen and the defense overall, because we needed that, right? If they don't step up, if they don't correct what they did in the first half, we don't win that game. But that first half defense was poor. It was atrocious. It was ugly. There was no rhythm to it. And the Green Bay Packers, we let that momentum build, and that was one of the keys to the things that you don't want to do in that game against the Packers. You do not want to let them build momentum. We did. Luckily, we were able to snatch it back. If we were on the road, I don't know if we would have been able to do that. But luckily, we were able to snatch it back, and we got it done. And overall, that's my thoughts. Winners, losers, studs, duds, whatever you want to call it, from the Saturday's game against the Green Bay Packers. I would love to hear who are your standouts in the game, who were your lowlights in the game. Let me know that down below. But next up, I want to get into this quote from Caleb Williams in regards to Ben Johnson, right? He said this. Look at this guy right here. Everything he's done for us as a coach, everything the other coaches have done for us, and it started with him, with bringing everybody and all of that. For me personally, he's been monumental in my life so far. I think that is such a great and poignant quote from Caleb Williams, because we aren't the team that we are right now. Even if you give the same mix of players to a different roster. Like, if Matt Eberflus had this exact same roster, would you trust the Bears to do and to get what they've gotten done with Eberflus? No. Ben Johnson deserves the acknowledgement for that. And it was good that the Bears went out and they identified Ben Johnson very early as their guy, the guy that they wanted to coach this team. And they went out and got him. And for what it's worth, he's been that leader of men. He's been that motivator. He's, there's been some shortcomings and some things that even Ben Johnson will tell you as a first-time head coach that he's learning on the job, he's learning through, and some things that he may have dropped the ball on at times. But overall, what Ben Johnson has brought to these guys' lives, and I've talked about how the relationship between Caleb and Ben Johnson is one of the most important relationships on this team, as you need to develop Caleb Williams and continue rocking them out. And that's a great thing. We post the post-game locker room speeches from Ben Johnson after every game, after every win, and they're great because it shows you a guy that cares so much about winning. He cares more about winning than anything else, whether he looks foolish, whether he looks great, and he cares about his players as well. You see what that means to Ben Johnson, what the relationship with Caleb Williams means to him, what the relationship and understanding his players, and not just the offensive players. Ben Johnson has gotten a good understanding of all the players on this team, and as a head coach, that is important. Yes, he's deciding to call plays, which that is his focus, but the one thing that we haven't had from Ben, that we didn't have from Matt Eberflus, the thing that we didn't have from Matt Nagy, is a head coach that really feels like they have their finger on the pulse of the team as a whole. Because as a head coach, regardless if you're offensive more leaning or defensive more leaning head coach, you are still the head coach. It is your job to have your finger on everything, on the team and understanding that pulse of the team. And he's done a great job of filling out the staff. He's let Dennis Allen fill out his staff. We got good people in the building. But it all started with Ben Johnson. Getting Ben Johnson in here for the Chicago Bears was the first step in this team really changing where we have been at over the years. And that was a much needed step from this team. And so, seeing how we've grown as a team, seeing how Caleb has grown as a player, seeing the trust in Luther Burden and Colston Loveland and all these type of things, it's been great to see that from this Bears team. And the development here, we would not have that if it wasn't for Ben Johnson. Good, better, best, right? That is such a simple slogan, but it is meaningful for the Chicago Bears team when you look at the way that we perform. Teams that go down like the Bears do, but never allow themselves to get so caught up in it where they stop fighting, that's special. And, of course, I want to see this team not be in so many situations to where we got to use the Iceman moniker, to where we got to come back in the fourth. I would love to see that, us not have to rely on that as heavily as what we've had to this season, but it's still, you need to acknowledge the fact that you've got it done. There's not a lot of teams that when you have time, that much time left on the clock, even with how you've been getting pushed around all game, that you still got to be like, hey, don't ease up on them because these motherfuckers can still come back. And that's great, right? When you look at the relationship for it as well, right? The relationship between Caleb Williams and Ben Johnson is that, Ben has learned to trust Caleb to do Caleb things. And he's going to work on Caleb to fix some of the things that he has. But, you got to do 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. It's not a perfect game. He threw for 361 yards. He completed 50% of his passes. But, overall, we still got the win. And so, like everybody's been saying all season long, right? And the Bears remember this as well. The job's not done. And you have not put away a Chicago Bears team until the clock hits 0. That's when you can feel comfortable about putting away a Chicago Bears team, because we've shown throughout the entirety of the season, until that clock strikes 0, the Bears can come back on that ass. And that just is what it is. And then we're going to finish the episode with this topic. The Packers still don't want to give the Chicago Bears the respect. And that's fine. I'll say this. I almost would respect them less if they did all of a sudden was like, yeah, man, that Bears team is legit. That Bears team is win. Say what you will, right? About this team. Javon Bullard, the safety for the Packers, said this after the game. No disrespect to them, but it ain't shit that they did. It's us. We got to finish. We know we whooping they ass the whole game. We got to finish. Chicago ain't do shit special. Hey, listen, I love that quote. I love that quote. I love that from the Green Bay Packers, because it wouldn't be the rivalry that it is if they all of a sudden came out and started speaking positively about the Bears. You're right. The Bears ain't do shit, but beat y'all twice this year. The Bears ain't do shit, but sent y'all home and ended y'all season early this year. The Bears ain't do shit, but instead in the last 2 years, the Bears have more playoff wins than you do. The Bears didn't do shit. You're right. We didn't do shit, but we beat y'all. So if ain't shit beat y'all, what does that make y'all? I want to be clear. What does that make y'all? Ain't shit beat you twice. So what does that leave the Green Bay Packers? What does that mean that y'all are? Y'all cheesehead, doo-doo eating motherfuckers is what y'all doing. So you can take that and great. I'm glad. Feel that the Bears didn't do anything special, but guess what? Make sure you watching us when you at home. Make sure you doing that. Make sure when you sitting at home watching the Chicago Bears on Sunday, whether the Chicago Bears win or lose, just remember, we the team that sent you home. So if we go out there and we lose against the Rams, cool, but we still sent y'all home, right? We still beat y'all once in the regular season. Hell, over the last 2 years, the regular season is 2-2. We beat y'all in the playoffs. So listen, Packers fans, Packers content creators, I was going to be petty. I was going to come in this episode, and I had a collage that I started making of Green Bay Packers content creators and how they doubt the Chicago Bears and things that they said after the game. But you know what? I think that sometimes the most petty that you can actually be is to leave people to sit with their thoughts and realize you got to spend a whole offseason asking yourself how the Chicago Bears, how you spent the last decade plus whooping our ass, how the Chicago Bears not only have beat you each of the last 2 seasons, but we sent you home and we have more playoff wins than you over the last 2 years. Ask yourself that. That's what you got to. You got to sit there, and over the next 6 months until the next season starts, and every move you make, you got to worry about the fact that the Chicago Bears won the division. The Chicago Bears beat you twice this season. The Chicago Bears are the ones that right now get to continue their season and continue going on with a chance to go to a Super Bowl. That's the Chicago Bears. Y'all get to sit there with your weasel-faced ass quarterback, Matt LaFleur, who doesn't even commit to actually returning next year as your head coach. That's what you got to sit there, where the Chicago Bears actually feel like the franchise that actually has it together between the two right now. So we'll see y'all again next season, and this is all going to start over next season. The success this season means nothing for next season, best believe. But just know this, we the ones that sent you home. And if you salted about it, fuck you, sit home, eat your cheese, deal with your offseason, because guess what? Unlike y'all, the city of Chicago is actually a good city. Nobody's going to Green Bay for fucking vacation. So fuck y'all. But that's my time for today. I know I didn't get into the mailbag today because I wanted to be petty to end the show. I'll get into the mailbag that was left after the game tomorrow, I promise you. If you're not proud to be a Chicago Bears fan right now, I need y'all to check y'all pulse. This team just made history. They're playing with heart, confidence, belief, and discipline. And now they get the chance against the Rams at home for a chance to go to the NFC Championship game. Make sure you guys like the channel, subscribe as well, leave a review if you're on the podcast side as well, and share this with every single Chicago Bears fan you know. This is Chicago Bears Central. You can follow us at Chi Bears Central. You send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, ChicagoBearsCentral@gmail.com. And lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail for the mailbag, the number to do so, 773-270-2799. Bear down, FGB, and we'll see y'all at the Rams game. Love you guys. Bear down. Peace, y'all.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.